everyone, can you hear me? Just running a few minutes late. Trying to make room on my desk. Hi Charlotte. Oh, so you've had your time change. Ours isn't for another 2 weeks yet. No Charlotte, you've not, you're fine. Hi Terry. Hi Donna. The UK does do daylight saving, but not until the 28th. It's the last Sunday of March. There's loads of comments, so I'm going to have to just go back and look at them, I think. You've all jumped on here before me. I can see Marcia, Donna, Charlotte, Barbara. Hi Barbara. Denise, is it? Terry, Corinne. Barbara's saying you can hear me. Perfect, thank you. And Jeanette saying, yep, can hear me. Hi Ashley, hope you're having a lovely Mother's Day despite the weather. Thanks for all the help on the applique PHC file. It worked with my CM900. Oh, brilliant, Mandy. I'm glad you were able to, you know, somehow make it work, even though it might not have been perfect, but hopefully. I just don't understand it because the CM900 is meant to be able to read the PES file, isn't it? So, but anyway, you know, we got there in the end, didn't we? So that's fine. I've had a lovely chilled out day, thank you, yeah. Philippa, you can hear me. Charlotte saying my description doesn't do it justice, of course. I think I've missed something there, Charlotte. There's that many comments popping up at the moment, and because I was running a few minutes late, you were all chatting and speaking, so I've not been able to catch up. Hi Maria in Caerphilly. Yeah, it's been awful here today, absolutely dreadful. And happy Mother's Day, yeah, to anybody who is celebrating it, if that's the word. It's not really the word I would think, is it, at the moment for lockdown, but anyway, for anybody who's got a Mother's Day today, happy Mother's Day. Right, let me get rid of that. So said last week, so I don't know if Rita's here, because as I say, there's all your names have all flashed up before me, but this was not necessarily a request, but Rita did ask me if we can do shrink plastic with the ScanNcut. And I said yes we can, and thought we would do it in you know, one of these Sunday nights. So I've not seen a name going through, but so I'm not actually sure whether she's here or not. But we'll do it anyway, and then hopefully she'll catch it up. Hi Lynn, hope you're okay. I'm just trying to go back through some of the comments to see if I can see what you've all been saying. Yeah, Denise is saying from a wet Leicestershire. It's very wet here in High Peak, Derbyshire. It's awful. It's misty as well. It's that horrible rain. Right, I can't see what's been going on in the past, so we'll just have to carry on. So let's see what we're saying. Sorry to upset you being 27 degrees and beautiful and sunny. Oh no, I should ban you, Lynn. Currently 4 AM here. Oh blimey, and it's raining again. We have not had a dry day here for the last 6 weeks. Wow. Well, I think, yeah, we've been quite lucky. We have had some dry days, and I think it was last Monday was beautiful. But then literally since last Monday, it's been awful, rain on and off. Terrible winds we had for 2 or 3 days. Charlotte's saying there's a lot to look at as some of us showed up an hour early. Oh no. Just back from a lovely Mother's Day afternoon tea. Oh, that sounds nice. Wow. Are you not in lockdown then, Lynn? Are you all allowed out now and that kind of thing? We're still all in lockdown till the 29th. And then I think the 12th of April things start to change a little bit. But they talk in June, probably before things get anywhere near back to normal. Assuming everything goes according to the roadmap plan. Marcy is saying 2 to 5 inches of snow expected. Wow, we're all having, isn't it funny, all in different parts of the world and all having different types of weather. Okay, so all of a sudden it's looking a bit dark over my desk and I don't know why. Jeanette's saying it's the rainy season now and can't wait for it to just end. Yeah, 6 weeks of it does get you down, doesn't it? Right, so let's just crack on for now. So these are the 2 bits of shrink plastic that I found while I was looking through my bits and pieces. Now, I was positive I'd done shrink plastic before. No lockdowns here for a couple of months now. Wow, well that's good. Hi Linda. So looking at this first one, so this, I have to say I've had these years. This one in particular, no idea how long I've had this. It's from Crafty Computer Paper. And I've literally only got one piece of it, and I'll get it out and I'll show it you in a minute, but I don't like this one, but it's probably because I've not been using it right. I don't use it very often. So hi Anita, hope you're okay. So this one says print shrink paper using normal settings. So from the sounds of that, this must be something I bought to try through the printer. So I've just literally got this one sheet, and you can see there's when I can get it out of this plastic bag, you'll see, or you may or may not be able to see. Let me put it on here, you probably see it better. There's a Mickey Mouse head cut out of it, so I know that I've definitely tried to cut shrink plastic on my SDX machine, and I don't know if you can see this, but this was a keyring project. If I just put it down, I'll try and zoom in, hang on, see if we can zoom in. That's a bit close now, isn't it? But so if you can see this was definitely done with the SDX. So whether I did this in a live, I'm not sure, or whether I just made it and posted about it. I thought there was a video, but I can't find one. So we've got this, which, as I say, feels smooth on both sides and is frosty. Okay, I'm just going to zoom back out. And according to the paperwork that's with this one from Crafty Computer Paper, it's telling you to print it. And it says, print shrink paper using normal settings. It's best to lighten your images before you shrink them, because shrinking does intensify the colours, which is borne out by this, which, as I say, I'll go over again in a minute. And on this particular one, it's saying create your shape twice the size that you want it, because it will shrink by at least half. That's what this one says. I need to zoom you out a bit more, I'm afraid, sorry. Okay, so that's the one from the Crafty Computer Paper. This one, I've no idea where I got this one from. It says it's by Fun Stamps. I'm guessing it could maybe be an eBay purchase. It could be a hobby craft purchase. I really don't know, but the label looks quite old. As I say, I don't tend to use shrink plastic, really, only for things like this, trying stuff out. So Vicky's saying we are now allowed to sit on restaurant patios with people not in our household in Manitoba. Still a bit of a challenge, barely above freezing and windy season. Okay, yeah, I think from the 29th, I know Hannah can start golfing again. And I can't remember I think we can sit outside in 2s or something like that, or 4s, and then it changes again from mid-April. So it's all still too confusing. Right, so let's just go back to this one. So this one is white, okay? Now, I know shrink plastic comes, I think you can get it in clear, you can get the white. Obviously, this is a printable one and this is frosted, but I'm sure you can get, you know, the type that you can stamp on or draw on in frosted. So I think it comes in various formats, but it all, I think, basically works the same. This one, the white one, is kind of rough on one side and smooth and shiny on the other. Now this one says, let me just get the instructions out before we start cutting. So this one says, stamp an image onto the rough surface. So I suppose if you were going to draw, you'd draw on the rough surface. And it says using a Fabrico or a Stays-On ink. Well, I know that they tend to use Stays-On, which is the permanent ink, and that you do tend to use that on slick surfaces. But anyway, that's what it's saying here. It's saying allow it to dry, and the image should not exceed 13 centimetres by 10 centimetres in area. It says colour the image on the rough side of the plastic, and it says use permanent ink or markers to colour it, and to be mindful that the colour will go darker and intensify as the object shrinks. Okay, so that's what it says there. You can also put this in an oven. I've got my heat gun at the ready to try it, but it says for this particular one, it says 175°C or 350 Fahrenheit or gas mark 3, and place the shapes on a baking tray lined with foil. Okay, so that's kind of like the basic instructions. So this particular little design, not sure how well you're going to see this, was stamped in, I think I stamped this actually in Memento. Yeah, I have tried stamping on the frosted one as well, and I'll show you something in a minute, but I don't like this particular frosted one because it says printer, so whether it's different than the frosted one that you hand stamp on, but I'll show you something in a minute. I don't like the effect it gives once it's shrunk. But this particular little design here, if I put that, let's just try and just keep it against, I don't know if it'll look better on the blue background. Let's just see if this looks any better. I'm going to try and zoom you in again. So this is from this stamp set. Hi Karen, yes, I've had a lovely day, thank you. Nice and chilled. And you've had a phone call with your son. Oh, that's lovely. Who's in the armed forces and deployed at the moment. Oh God. Well, at least you got to speak to him. That's nice. Right, so look at the size of this. So this is the flower. This is an old Stampin' Up. Some of you might have this. Little ladybug. It was from Celebration, I think, last year. So this is the size of the original stamp. And look how it shrunk here. Now, as I say, from memory, I don't think I used Stays-On, because Stays-On is alcohol based, and I coloured this with my alcohol markers, and that wouldn't work, would it? Because I think you've got to have opposites. I think you've got to have like a water based and an alcohol based. So from memory, I think I stamped this in Memento, but I let it dry thoroughly. You can see it. You can see it when I hold it up. Okay, that's fine. And then I coloured it in. And the colours do intensify. And then if you look, I'm just trying to see which bug it is. So this was the bug that I used, and this is how small it's gone. So if I put the flower on my hand and I put the stamp and then hold it up, let me just get this in, you can see the difference in size. So it, you know, it does shrink considerably. But you don't have to stamp, you could just cut shapes on your ScanNcut. So let's just put this, I'll use the stamp and I'll stamp this and let it be drying while we cut something on the ScanNcut. So let me just find, got that many bits and things on my desk now. So it said to colour on the rough side, so I'm going to stamp on the rough side. So we'll try Memento and see what happens. Because I'm sure I used Memento to do this last time. So I'm just going to stamp it down and just hold it and try not to move it. So Debbie's saying love shrink plastic. Hi Karen, hope you're okay. Okay, so that's stamped on there for now, and I'll just set that on one side and just let it be drying. Let me just give this a quick clean. So just before I came on, I had a look for my old notes from when I had my CM machine. Let me just put this away and I'll tell you what I found for anybody that might want to try this with a CM machine. I'm just going to put that on one side for now. So where's my notes? So I've got some scribbled notes here that says, for shrink plastic, use the purple standard matte. This is with a CM machine, not with the auto blade machine, because that's what we're going to use in a minute. So for shrink plastic, purple standard matte. For me, it looked as though it was a blade depth of 6 and a cut pressure of 2, and it cut in one pass, okay? But what you've got to remember with the CM machines, that the paper that goes around the outside of the blade with all the numbers on were, you know, quite a lot of them were all set at different levels. So what might have been a blade 6 for me, if the paper on your blade was not in the same place as it would have been on my CM machine, your 6 might have been a 4 or an 8 for me. Does that make sense? Because, as I say, the paper numbers weren't lined up across, they weren't consistent across all the blade housings. That's, I think, what I'm trying to say. So you would always need to do a test cut, okay? But for tonight, we're just going to have a go with the SDX. So let me just find some old scissors and just cut a piece off here for now. Don't want to do any colouring on this at the moment because I just want to make sure it's kind of fully dry. So I'm going to put this, I don't suppose it matters what side I put it down on the mat. I'm going to put rough side down, that might help it stick to the mat a little bit better. And I'm just going to position it in the middle, not for any particular reason. And because it is, I know I've put rough side down, but because it's a slick kind of surface, I am also going to tape it with some washi tape. So what you're saying, I've never used shrink plastic, so I'm very intrigued, Barbara's saying. Never used shrink plastic as well, Denise is saying. I've not used shrink plastic either. Okay, so there's a few of you not used it. I mean, you could just stamp on it and hand cut it, but if you've got a scan and cut and you want to try cutting anything out with it, then, you know, you can use it for your scan and cut as well. So I'm just going to put that on one side. Oh, one thing I did want to show you as well. So this was this little flower. Might see it better if I put it on the piece of paper. This is the frosted one that said put it through the printer. And I'm not sure how well you'll see it, but when I shrunk it, all the edges went all weird. And there is a hole in it. If I can try and hold it up, I don't know how well this is going to focus. But there's a hole here. And that hole was punched with my crocodile before I shrunk it. And just to give you a comparison, this hole here on the piece of paper on where my finger is the size that this hole was before I shrunk it. Okay, so that's another thing you've got to be mindful of. If it's something you're going to be shrinking that you need to put a hole in, you need to punch it first and use a bigger hole than you would want to use, because as the project shrinks, the hole will shrink as well. Great for making hair clips, Mandy's saying. So excited for this lesson as I have been buying key rings and shrink plastic. Yeah, well, this was a key ring I made last year. I think I sent these. Did I send them to my customers or my team? I can't remember. Karen, did you get one of these before you joined my team? I can't remember who I sent them out to. I think I made quite a few last year, and I know I sent them out. Right, I'm going to put, let's flip over, and I'm going to put this mat in. And my mat is sticky, but I just want to hold it down with some tape as well, just to be on the safe side. So I think what we'll do first of all, we'll just choose, let me just see if I can make that screen any darker. We'll just choose a shape from within the machine. So Charlotte is saying, I'm interested because I'm wanting to cut some stencils and think this info will translate well. Okay, Charlotte, I did do a video on cutting stencils last year using laminated pouches. So, you know, that's something that you could maybe go and look at as well. Jeanette's saying, ideas percolating, craft fairs in mind. Yeah, focus is good, right at the closest point. Okay. Vicky's taking notes. I've bookmarked this video, Vicky. Okay, I think I'm up to date so far. So I'm just going to zoom in then first, just to get a shape. So we'll just go into the basic shapes. So we'll go to pattern. What should we try? No, I didn't, but saw one on one of the Zoom meetings. Oh, okay. Maybe it was customers I sent them to then. I definitely made all these key rings. I think it was last year or the year before, and it was probably customers. I probably put them in customer thank you packs. Yeah, Charlotte, if once you're on the channel here, if you're on, go to the home page, and along the top where it says video playlists and about that kind of thing, there's a magnifying glass, and in that magnifying glass, if you put stencils, anything with that word in it should come up on my channel. Barbara's drinking Prosecco. Might have to rewatch. Okay, right, let's just go and find a shape then. We'll just go into the flowers or something for now. So just choose a basic flower for now. I have trouble rewatching the live, so I take notes. Just move to a notebook instead of random bits of paper. We'll say okay, okay again, and I'm going to do a background scan. I'm just going to zoom out so that you can see the machine a bit better. Might have to bring you down ever so slightly. But then I know I get glare. Yes, the craft notebook is a powerful tool. I think it was a team meeting, Ashley, before I joined. Oh, okay. Right, so I've got this flower and I've got this piece of shrink plastic. I am going to edit this flower because it's just under 4 inches. So we'll make it, let's make it 2.75. because that's the figure that I might be able to remember, and then we'll measure it once we've shrunk it. Okay, I'm just going to put it on there. I'm not doing anything with it, I'm not colouring it, literally just going to cut it. I'm going to say okay, 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 select and cut, and then start. And say, I know I've got quite a sticky mat. It's not dead sticky, but it's sticky, but I've got it taped down as well. Vicky, perfect opportunity to design with a scan and cut. Jenny is saying hello everybody. Well, hello Jenny. Right, so you should be able to see it cutting. And it's saying it's finished. So I'm just going to peel up a corner and just see if it has cut through in one pass or not. And it has. So we'll unload the mat. Bring you back over here. Just going to stick these bits of washi tape on my mat for now, because we'll use them again in a minute. So if anyone's got a CM machine and you're taking notes, like I say, do a test cut, use the test cut facility, you know, just choose one of the little squares or triangles or circles and do a test cut. But from my old notes, using the standard purple strap mat, which was the same on the CM models, it was blade 6, what did I say? Blade 6 and cut pressure 2. But don't just take my word for that and go and cut something in case you cut through your mat. Okay, so you can see it went through that cleanly. And here's the flower. We'll look at this other one in a minute, so let me just move all my bits of rubbish out of the way. I'm going to stick it in this bowl just to try and contain it. And because I don't want heat directly on the new mat, I've just got an old chopping board. Now, obviously, before you shrink it, if you wanted to colour it or stamp a design on it or draw on it or whatever, you do it at this point, and you also put a hole in it at this point before you shrink it, because otherwise it's a bit of a devil to put one in afterwards. So I will punch a hole in just so you can see. So I'm going to use the biggest hole on my crocodile and just punch a hole. Okay. I think you should be able to see that better in the blue bowl, shouldn't you? Let's just try and zoom in a little. I keep forgetting I can take the material down. Would have saved a lot of paper if I had. Right, I'm going to put my heat gun on. It's going to get noisy. Basically, what I do, I just hold it down with something, because it's still going to rattle around in this tray. But, you know, at least I'm containing it a little bit. So I'm just going to put this on and then get this going and let it shrink. And I've got a block so that I can bash it down at the end if it needs flattening. Hi Alison, hope you're okay. You've been having a nap, oh lovely. You can put it in the oven, yeah. I'm just trying to see if this one says anything about oven. Yeah, this was the one that said 175C or 350 Fahrenheit or gas mark 3 on a lined tray, it says. But it doesn't say how long for. I think it's just a case of you just put it in there and you just have to keep watching it and see how long it takes. So I'm not so sure that I've actually shrunk this one. Oh, I've just flicked it across my desk, hang on. Not so sure I've fully shrunk this one. But we'll try again in a minute. But basically, if you look at that, and then look at this hole here, that's the size of the hole I did with my crocodile, and look how small it goes. So that's what I'm saying, you do need to be mindful about the size of the hole. You'll think that the hole that you're putting in your project is far too big, but it actually isn't. Right, let's just see what we're saying. Not in the oven then. Told you I know nothing about it. Oh wow. Must be 20 plus years since I worked with shrink plastic. I know, literally, I've probably had this that long. There's something very satisfying about that. Wooden skewers, yeah, it would be good for holding it down. I was going to bring like a kebab skewer in and I forgot, so that's why I'm using the tweezers. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut this one out with the ScanNcut. I'm going to cut it out first while it's black and white, just in case because I've got all the lights on in here, just in case if I colour it in, if it doesn't pick it up properly. So I'm going to put this on the mat, cut this out, we'll colour this one in quickly and we'll shrink it and we'll see how the colour looks. Marcia is saying, while it's still hot, could you use a nail or something like that to enlarge it? Probably, yeah, because while it's still hot, it's pliable, but the minute that it cools down, it becomes solid, you know, so it becomes a hard plastic. Let's just we'll bring this back in, we'll put this back on here. Now this one, because I've stamped on the rough side, this is going shiny side down. So again, I'm going to tape it just to make sure, because once the blade starts moving around, with the surface on the back of this being like a slick surface, it may want to move. So again, I'm just going to tape it. Won't do it any harm, just as long as you make sure your mat is sticky enough to hold your tape. You shouldn't lose your tape in your machine. I don't like taping things down because I always worry that, you know, it might come loose in the machine, but as I say, my mat is fairly sticky, so it should be held in place anyway. Right, what you're saying, I use a cardboard box, old shoe box, to hold it, yeah, with a wood, and hold it down, yeah. You need to contain it, because once the heat hits it, it does want to start blowing around your desk, and then you're just chasing it around your desk. Don't think leaving mine long enough. Yeah, you can overcook it though, that's the thing. I think that's what I was worried about with this. You can burn it, you know, you can overheat it. I think this probably would have gone a little bit more, but you know, not to worry, we'll see. Do you have to use a pen to close in any open lines? What do you mean, Caroline? Have I missed something? Where's the open lines? I don't know what you mean. Oh, do you mean on this? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it picks it up. If not, I'll close in the bottom. Is that what you mean? In fact, I'll just let me find a Sharpie and I'll do it anyway. So I'll just close in this section here. I think that should be okay. So let's go back, load this one in, get rid of that one, we'll load you could end up with your shape stuck on the nail. Possibly, Vicky, that's a thought actually, isn't it? Because it is hot and pliable, isn't it? It goes like molten. So yeah. Right, where's my spatula? I'm going to, so we're going to do direct cut on this one. So I'm going to go to scan, direct cut. I'm trying to get rid of the glare, but I don't want to keep moving you. We'll save it, the scan to the machine, and we'll say start. It wants me to move the scanning lever. So let's see how we go with this one. Yes, at the bottom, that's right, okay. Yeah, no problem, Caroline. There may be other open lines in this, I'm not sure, so we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to isolate the flower with the arrows as best I can. And we'll say okay and see what we get. I think it's picked it up. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to add an offset of 0.04. I think it's lost a little bit of definition on one of the leaves on the side, but I'm not all that bothered. So I'm just going to say okay. We'll go select, cut, and start. So I'm just looking in my, I'm looking for a pale colour, just so we can see how the colour intensifies once we heat it. So that's finished, so we'll unload that one. just shows we have listened and remembered from earlier lives. Definitely does. So you're telling me now, aren't you? That's good. Just put these bits of tape on one side. So there you can see it's cut through cleanly, hopefully. Okay. So I'm going to, I've got some scrap paper somewhere. Just going to put this on some scrap paper because I'm using some blends. And then we'll see if we can colour this in. So let's find, so for anybody that's got Stampin' Up! Blends, this is soft seafoam, which is a really, really pale green, very, very pale. And I've got petal pink, I think I'll use. So that's two really pale colours. And we'll just see if we can see how the colour does intensify. So we'll just do a little bit of very, very quick colouring. I mean, soft seafoam is that pale you can barely see it. In fact, it might be too pale, and this might be too pale as well. Let's see. What else could we use? I think this might be too pale. Let's just... Yeah, I think that's too pale. Let's try something else. What can we use? Should we try a yellow? Don't know what colour I used on that. We'll go with a yellow and just see. But because this is, I don't think the ink has completely dried. So maybe I did use stays on last time, because it's kind of running a little bit. Not running, smudging. So maybe I did use stays on and just let it thoroughly dry. So I've used light So Saffron and what did I say the other one was? I've forgotten already. Soft Seafoam. You could snip off the thick line from the Sharpie at the end with the scissors before shrinking. Yeah, should I do that? Let's just get rid of that then. I've not actually coloured the stem in. Let's come back to this, because as I say, it's kind of I wouldn't say it's bleeding, it's just, it looks like it's smudged a little, so it's maybe not drying. Now, I'm not really sure how well you're going to see that. It virtually looks as though there's no colour on it. So let's put it back in this tray and see what we get, if anything. So it's going to get loud again for a few minutes. Mint macaron, perhaps. Should we try that? Should we go over it with mint macaron? Mint macaron light. To be fair, that's not much. That's not much different. Right, let's see. We'll just go for it. We'll just shrink it and see what happens. I'm just going to flatten it and let it cool. And let's zoom in and see if you can see the colour has gone darker, despite the fact that you could virtually not see it. I'm trying to zoom in as much as I can. I think it's might be cool enough to pick up now, yeah. So can you see that? So the soft sea foam you couldn't see at all. Then I went over the leaves with mint macaron light, which you still couldn't see. I used light so saffron, which you virtually couldn't see on the white, but you can see the minute that it shrinks to its fullest, the colour completely intensifies. And it's still hot, so I'm just going to put it down. I'm just going to zoom you out a little bit. So if you look at that one I've just done, and then you look at the one I did last time, I've no idea what colour that other one was I did last time, but it's a lot deeper. So maybe I used Daffodil Delight, something like that last time. So Vicky's saying, can see the colour when it's on the white background. I love a bit of experimenting. Another, oh wow, see what you mean about the colour intensifying. Yeah, because it looked nothing when I coloured it with one light colour, but you can definitely see how deeper it goes. Barbara's saying, appreciate this, Ashley, because I'd be in a mess trying to do it on my own. Colours looks like it's showing up. Quite a bit darker. Yeah, definitely. What a difference, yeah. So it's cooled down a bit now. So if I'll try and bring it in to see if you can, is it focusing? So from that to that, so the distance across here is, let's see, so from edge to edge, it's 2 3/4 across that widest point, and now it's 1 1/4 inch. So it's gone from 2 3/4 to 1 1/4 at its widest point. And you can see how easily it cut with the ScanNcut. Mandy G saying, shrink plastic from eBay after this then. Yeah, just type in shrink plastic, and like I say, I know obviously I've got the white, you can get it in clear, you can get it in frosted, you know, there's different, I think you can even get black. It would be cute as an accent on a card, definitely, yeah, you could stick it on. I'd probably stick it on with like a hot glue, something like that. When I did this, I punched the hole in it before I shrunk it, and as I say, I used the big hole on my crocodile, and then to stick the little bug on the flower, I used hot glue. So just a dab of hot glue, and that's how I stuck that one together. The one tonight looks a lot bigger. No, it's the same size, just an optical illusion, I think. It is the same size if I stand it on top of the other one. Sorry, you can't see that now, can you? Let me zoom back out and then I'll hold it up. If I put them together, this one's slightly shorter. It may be that I used a slightly bigger offset when I cut this one out, but they are more or less the same size. It could be a different plastic. No, I think it's the same. I think I use the same plastic. So Karen's saying, I made earrings for my daughter. Yeah. Notepad working hard, ladies. I think they do shrink plastic in the range. Yeah, you can get it most craft places, I think. You probably get it in Hobbycraft, like you say, or the Range, or eBay if you're doing online shopping, or Amazon. You can get it in Black Debit. Okay, thanks. I thought you could. So white, black, clear and frosted. I think that's probably it. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it in any other colours. B Woodford is saying, oh miss, this will catch later, thank you. No problem, I can always do another one. Right, what should we do? Should we try something else? What should we do? I know, I'll try the stays on. Let me find the stays on. Because I snipped off the end, good thinking. Can you print on them? Can you print on all of them, or do you have to buy printable? Right, well, let's see what this one says. So the one I'm using now, the white one, it just says make your own jewellery, key rings, badges, fridge magnets, etc. Full instructions included, but this is all I've got. It says stamp an image onto the rough side of the sheet using Fabrico or Stays On ink. So this one's telling you to stamp on it. It doesn't mention printing it on this one, on this white one, but the other one, this frosted one that I showed you earlier, that came from the Crafty Computer paper, is saying to print on. So I'm guessing that this is a printable one and this white one is just a general purpose one. So maybe I bought the printable one just to try it at some point. And I'm guessing I probably had a few sheets in this pack and I'm probably just down to, you know, this last piece. And this white one, I've got like a full sheet and I've got some bits of scraps and the one I've been using tonight. So this one that I'm using now, the white one, is probably not a printable. Right, what you're saying, what were the measurements again? Okay, so cutting it, Vicky, as it was, I did use a 0.4 offset, remember, but it was 2.75 at its widest point, so from here to here, and it went, I've just broke a bit off that now, hang on, and it went to 1 1/4. So 2.75 down to 1 1/4. So what's it lost? 1 1/2? Right, so let's see what we're saying. So I've answered Vicky. Jeanette's saying 3 3/4 flour went down to 1 1/4. This one was 2.75, wasn't it? Let me bring the ruler back in. What did I set this one to? Let's try and go at its widest point. Yeah, so the flour I set at 2.75, and when I shrunk it, although I don't know I fully shrunk it, let's find how it goes, because it is a bit of an odd shape, this flour. So that's that way. So this is 1 1/2. So 2.75 to 1 1/2, and 2.75 to 1 1/4. Right, let me catch up with what you're saying. Shrink plastic from the Range, pack of 10, £3.99. Okay. Karen is saying, Ashley, one stamp, can you enlarge on Scan and Cut so as you get a bigger finished project? So I suppose if you stamped it, you'd have to do Scan to Cut data, wouldn't you? And then you could enlarge it and cut a plain version. Is that what you mean, Karen? Because obviously you couldn't enlarge the stamped unless you drew it, I suppose, with a permanent marker and then shrunk it. But yeah, you could. I don't see why not. Yeah. Excuse me. Right, let me see. If you coloured the back too, would it look okay? Well, on this particular one that's white, you could colour the back, but it'd just be plain, wouldn't it? Because you've not got the stamped image on the back. But yeah, you could colour that before you shrunk it. Could I use Stays On to use a rubber stamp onto fabric? Designed especially to use on plastic, metal, glass, ceramic, laminated paper, coated paper and leather. Not recommended for fabric, this Stays On says. So Mandy G, I would say no. And I think that's, is it the Fabrico? The Fabrico ones I think are for fabric, aren't they? But according to this Stays On, it's saying leather, but not recommended for fabric. Anita's saying that's a good price. $3.99 for 10 sheets. Yes, dropped a third, Jeanette's saying. Sorry, dropped 2/3. Vicky's saying 2.75 or 3.75. Which one, Vicky? The ladybug one, or the flower from the Scan and Cut? Sorry being quiet tonight in my own little world, missing my boyfriend loads. Oh, bless you, Alison. Vicky is saying, okay then, 55%, not 66%. Karen's saying, right, I'm with you. Yeah, so you'd stamp something, Karen, then you'd have to scan it in. But you'd have to scan it in using Scan to Cut data, save it, then you could enlarge it, and then you'd either cut it out of plain so it wouldn't have the stamped image on it, or you could draw it in a permanent marker and then shrink it. Oh, thanks, I'll look for Fabrico. I'm sure Fabrico is for fabric. Maybe I've got that wrong, but I thought it was. So if you want a certain finish size, cut 2.2 times size larger, a little more than twice as large. Okay. If you have a favourite plastic, I've heard of people marking measurements along the top and side of the corner. Cut it out, shrink it, and you've got a ruler. Okay. Right, let's try the book. We'll try this one. We'll use Stays On for this. And it says to stamp on the rough side. So this is the rough side. Don't forget the thumbs up, Pat's saying. Oh, thank you. Someone had said the second one was 3.75. No, it was 2.75. I think they both were actually. Don't know. This looks maybe a bit too juicy now, this. We'll try it. Let's... Okay, we'll see how this goes, because this is quite an inky Stays On pad. Doesn't it smell Stays On? Dear me, it's very strong. And just going to let that dry for a few seconds, and I'm just going to clean this of the stays on. I think I need my stays on cleaner for this. But I don't know where it is. Here it is. That'll have to do for now. Right, let's bring the mat in and get this stuck down and see how we go with this one. So again, because I've stamped on the rough side, it's the shiny side that's down on the mat, so I'm going to stick it down again using these bits of tape. Don't like the smell, Karen saying, yeah, it's very pungent, isn't it? So we'll cut it out, we'll give it a bit of a colour, and then we'll shrink it. Just find a bit more tape. But I'll only colour it like really quickly. I won't do it, you know, like dead professional, just to save some time. Right, let's see what you're saying, because I can see, yes, it stays on stinks. We're comrades on geekhood. That's a great idea. Then you have a scale to work with, yeah. B saying love the smell. Yeah, like marzipan, that's it. Yeah, it is. Yes, Charlotte, awesome idea about the ruler. Have you been stamping a bit too long with the stays on? Right, let's flip back and load this. I think my machine's gone to sleep. So we'll hit the home button and get rid of that. I'll load this in. I know you can't see the screen, but I'm doing scan, direct cut. I'm going to say save it in the machine and start. So I'm literally just doing a background scan. It just saves me keep moving the camera and making you all feel sick. Okay, so I'm just going to drag in the handles just to isolate the little ladybug, and I'm trying to avoid the bits of washi tape so it doesn't pick them up as well. I'm going to say OK. I'm going to say OK again. In fact, can you see that? Yeah. I'm going to add an offset because I don't know. Now, let me see if I can zoom you in. I don't think you're going to see this very well, to be fair. But basically, I can see, it looks as though it's picked up one of the black dots on the ladybug. So I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to get into edit, and I can see it's picked up that. So I'm just going to hit the trash, and now I've just got my outline, I think. So we'll go to edit. Yeah, there's no arrows lit up now, so I've only got one object on the screen, so that's fine. Just make sure we've still got the 0.04 offset. Say OK, select and cut and start. So basically what it had done, I know you can't see that because it's dead bright, but what it had done, it had picked up one of the dots, the black dots on the ladybug's wing. So it was wanting to cut that, so I've just deleted that bit. Can see the screen, we can see the screen, okay. glare is only a small spot in the corner. Oh, okay, it looks a bit different to what I'm seeing. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums in England, Teresa saying, yes, same to you. Right, so we'll unload. I've got stuff everywhere as usual. Can't get this one up now. Just want to get all these bits of sticky off my mat. Okay. You can't see, can you? I've not flipped the screen, sorry. Okay, so I've literally just unloaded the mat. So what it had done on the screen, it had picked up one of these little black dots here and had put a cut line around it. So that's why I just went into the edit and deleted that, just so then it just gave me this outline. So I'll just bring my board in. So we'll just give it a very, very quick colour. So what's this? This is light smoky slate. This isn't going to be perfect because I actually can't see properly from the angle I'm looking at, but this is a very, very pale grey. So we'll just do a little bit of colouring on the body. Just find my scrap paper. So we've got light smoky slate, and I'll do light real red. Right, and I can see loads of things going up now. So what you're saying, is it me or have the defaults changed since the last software upgrade? The 0.04 used to be there automatically, but since upgrade I've had to change it from 0 all the time. SDX machine. On the SDX machine I think it's always been 0 and you had to apply it, but I think on the CM model I think it was by default. I know it's dead cute, this bug, isn't it? It's like I say, it was one of the celebration stamps from last year, so it's like well over a year old, but I couldn't bring myself to get rid of it. It was just too cute. Like I say, this isn't going to be the best colouring because the angle I'm doing it from isn't great, but we'll get the idea. Just, it's really more to show you the intensity of the colour. So if I just, okay, so this looks more like a deep pink and it's light real red, and this just literally looks like you can barely see it. It's a very, very pale grey. So we'll see how this goes. I just got something on the floor, sorry. Is the blue tray getting a bit melted? I don't know, it might be. Unless I put it on, I could just put it on the board. Let's try that. Scroll back in the chat to see the discussion on size change after shrinking. The stamp set is Little Ladybug. Yes, it is. That's right. That's what it was. have to zoom you back out again now, sorry. Keep zooming you in and zooming you out. It was, yeah, it was a cling stamp set, Celebration, host set. But it really was a nice set. I think it's been discontinued. It was one of my favourites. Yeah, it was a Celebration one, and it never carried over. Right, it's going to get noisy again because of this, but we'll see how we go. What size is the ladybug? Right, I'll measure it in a minute. So basically, when it starts shrinking, it'll all shrivel up, but don't panic. And sometimes it wants to stick to itself. Just keep heating it and it will kind of uncurl itself. And then you'll see it stop shrinking. And the minute it stops shrinking, take the heat off it. Right, and then flatten it if you want it flat. So, I mean, that is tiny now. So, it's still very warm though, but you can see the difference in the colour. You can see how the red's intensified and how the grey has. So if I just put that down, where is it? This is where I've cut it from. So I'll zoom you back in again. Just move this over a little so you can see it. So if you look at it, there's the wings. So that's how I've stamped it. Let me find a ruler again. So we'll do from wing to wing because that's like the widest point. So let's just move that out of the way for a minute. So that is what we're saying. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 6/8 maybe. Let's see. 1 5/8 possibly. Can you see that? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 5/8 we'll say at the widest point. And then if we put it next to it and then measure this, this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 6/8. Let me look again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say that's 6/8. So 1 5/8 down to 6/8 of an inch. Can you see that? I don't know if I can zoom in anymore. So there, that look, it's tiny. Right, I'm gonna have to scroll back so I can't see. Still got mine too, but still use it because love the font for the happy birthday. Yeah, I use the happy birthday quite a bit. Sorry, that was a big flower from the set. I use a small metal baking tray, Sue's saying. What, for shrinking? That's a good idea. She's even cuter shrunk, definitely. The colour changes are awesome. Yeah, the colours definitely intensify. So, you know, if you want, for instance, like this red, I only applied a very light, I use Real Red Light, but I only applied, you know, a very light colour over it. And obviously it's gone on white, but look how onto a white base, sorry, and look how dark it's intensified next to it. Let's just see if we can put the colour next to it. So can you see, that's the real red I started with, and that's how dark it's gone. One shrunk. So that's what they always say, that the colours intensify, and that's what happened with this one. This has gone like a really, really dark yellow. I think that might have been Daffodil Delight, and it's gone really dark. It's gone more like Mango Melody when it's, you know, once it's shrunk, it's intensified that much. No worry, Lynn, that's fine. That's too cute. Thank you, Vicky. Yes. 1/5/8, 11/16. I love the idea of shrink wrap stitch markers. I'm definitely going to give the shrink plastic a try. It's awesome. You're welcome. So like I say, if you've got the SDX machine, you know, just let the blade cut it for you, and it'll probably cut it in the one pass. If you're going to try it on a CM machine, do your test cut first, but from my old paper notes and everything that I've got scribbled on all these bits of paper, let me zoom back out. I've lost it again now. Blade 6, cut pressure 2. So the shrink was nearly the same, about 53%, okay? We all love a new craft idea, which is why I love Sunday nights. Oh, great, thank you. So, I've lost the stem off this one, but anyway, that was the shape from the ScanNcut. So literally anything in your ScanNcut, just cut them, then colour them in, and then shrink them, or stamp them, or even draw them. If you're good at drawing, just draw things on shrink plastic, colour it in. Use the stays on definitely work better, which is the permanent ink. So if you're going to draw, use something that's permanent, you know, a permanent ink. The Sharpies are permanent, aren't they? So you could probably draw with Sharpies and then shrink them. Mandy's saying, on your keyring, did you just do the 2 stamped images on top? No, I did them separate, Mandy. I stamped the flower and coloured it in, stamped the ladybug and coloured it in, shrunk them both, and then I stuck the ladybug on top of the flower with hot glue. Don't know how well you're seeing that. Also, not the note that the hole gets smaller. Yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying. So the hole in this one here for the little jump ring started off, where's my bit of paper? I did this earlier because I knew I'd need to remember to show you. Started off with the big hole, which is in the biggest hole of my crocodile. So if you've got one of these, you've got the big hole and you've got the smaller hole. It was the big hole, and it shrinks down to, you know, just big enough to get the little jump ring in it. And this, where have I put my ruler? What's this? Let's see. I think it's maybe just over 1/8. I'd say it's bigger than 1/8. so that the hole will shrink as well as, you know, the shrink plastic. So yeah, you do have to remember that. The colour intensifies, and if you punch in a hole, punch your hole bigger than you think. You're welcome, Linda. And face, yeah, oh hi, yeah. Please give Ashley a thumbs up below the video. Vicky's saying, oh, thank you. I agree with Linda, your tutorials are brilliant. Thank you, Ashley, wonderful as always. Thanks for the reminder, Vicky. Yeah, thank you, Vicky, for that. Have made 2 cards using the scan and cut. Have made 2 cards using the scan and cut letters. That's something you could do, isn't it? Cut the letters on your scan and cut and then shrink them. You could cut them. Think about this. If you've got a piece of this shrink plastic, which is probably about as big as an A4 piece of paper, you could cut a big letter like your initial, colour it in or stamp all over it and colour it in and then shrink it. What about that? That would make like a nice decoration, wouldn't it? Lisa's going to give it a try. Brilliant. When you cut the shape, you can add the hole for this. Yeah, you could get the scan and cut to put the hole in if you've not got a punch. I think I'd forget to do it, that's why I use my crocodile. But yeah, that's a good idea. I quite like the idea of cutting a big letter though now, the full size of a full piece of shrink plastic, and then maybe stamp all over it, like, you know, like when you make a one sheet wonder. Cut your letter, stamp all over it, colour it in, and then shrink it. Oh, I might have a go at that tomorrow. Julia is saying, when you cut the shape, you can add the... Yeah, got that. Oh my God, Alison. Underlining that idea in my notebook. Yeah. I'm going to have a go at that tomorrow. I'm going to cut a letter. I'm going to get some... I'm going to get a stamp set out. I'm going to stamp all over it, colour it in and shrink it. So I'm going to leave my shrink plastic out and try and remember to do that tomorrow. Julia Rose, great idea. Then you can make the hole any size, definitely. Yeah. Right, so, blimey, I've been on for over an hour and 20 minutes again. Any last minute questions before I go? So for the lady Rita that asked the question originally, can we cut shrink plastic with a scan and cut? As I told her at the time, the answer is most definitely yes. Make little blocks like Scrabble, that's a good idea. Mandy's saying, oh, the large letter sounds fab. Yeah, I'm going to have a go. I'll probably make a right old mess of it, but I'm going to have a go and see. A mass sale on shrink plastic tomorrow, Anita's saying. Yeah, all the shops will be selling out, won't they? They'll all be wondering why. The letters with the 3 different alphabets add on with the flowers cut out. Give Ashley a like. Oh, thank you, Caroline. She really takes us places we might never go. You could even import 2 letters, overlap them and weld them. Yeah, see, you're all running with the ideas now. This is what I love. Because we all come up with these ideas, don't we, between us. I'm just tidying my desk up while I'm waiting. Because I've got bits of shrink plastic all over the place. Anita's saying I will be out shopping tomorrow. Just bought my supply of shrink plastic, Mandy's saying. Oh my days, brilliant. Where is the offset button on the CM? It's in your edit settings somewhere, isn't it? It looks like the circle. It looks like, if I bring you back to my screen, the icon looks the same. It might just be in a different place. Vicky might be able to tell you where it is better than me, because I can't remember on the CM. But if I just go, I'll just go and grab any shape for now. Do it on video. What, my big letter? Okay, I'll try it. Like I say, it might be a complete fail, but I'll try it, yeah, and I'll record it and see what happens. Right, so mine, if I go into edit and object edit, this is the offset button here. Hang on, let me see. This looks like a circle within a circle. You should have that on your CM. Only does it in direct mode. Okay. Is it not in the editing function, Vicky? I thought you could add an offset just in... You know, within the editing bit. I'm sure you can add an offset. I've got videos on it anyway on my channel, B Woodford. So if you go back through my YouTube channels, you'll find, I think there is one that says how to apply an offset and an inset, something like that, and that will be on my old CM600 or CM900. Just have to go into my craft stash to pull out my old shrinky dinks. Yeah, definitely. That's another name for it, isn't it? Shrinky dinks. That's what I meant to say at the beginning and completely forgot. We tend to call it shrink plastic here in the UK, but yeah, shrinky dinks. I need to find mine. I know. I just had to have it. Okay, right. So unless there's any last minute questions that show up, I'm going to say good night to you all, and I'll see you all next week. Charlotte saying, "Oh, Caroline, I know how that goes." Yeah, we all have this stuff, don't we? And we put it away and we never bring it out. Thank you, Vicky and Ashley. I will look for it. Okay, right, I'm going to go then, guys. So it's been lovely speaking to you all again. Oh, so Vicky's saying my CM does a seam allowance in edit, but only does offset after a scan to direct cut. CM900 might do it differently. Yeah, I forget. Yeah, you have a different model, don't you? I'm sure in the edit function somewhere there's an offset. I'm sure I've used it in my previous CM600 and 900. Jeanette, you're welcome. Charlotte, you're welcome. Sue's saying from memory, it's on the sizing screen down in the bottom left. Okay, yeah. Anita's saying thank you very much. Marcy's saying goodbye. Terry's saying thank you. A fun walk down memory lane project. Thanks, have a good week, everyone. Oh, hi Pat. Yeah, no problem. Right, I'm going. I'll speak to you all soon. Take care.